All right, I'm going to call the November 17th, 2021 meeting of the School Building Committee to order. And I assume the mayor will want me to chair. So Jeremy, do you want to call the roll and establish our quorum?
All right, Dave, Jason, Lori, Jackie.
Yes, here.
Jerry, Kelly, Bill,
Here.
Terry,
Here.
Scott,
Here.
Ed,
Here.
Mark, Rob,
Here.
Steve, Mike, Andrew,
Here.
Gail,
Here.
Jack,
Here.
and there. That's 9. That's a quorum.
Okay, meeting is officially opened. So we have minutes from October 13th. Has everybody had a chance to read those? Here's Jerry for the record. Number 10. So Jackie, is there a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Thank you. Jeremy?
All right. Dave, Jason, Lori, Jordan, Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
and Jack.
Yes,
That's 10.
passes unanimously. All right. Steve, you're up.
Right, share my screen.
And no matter what I said before about finishing quickly, don't take that to heart. This is an important monthly meeting to keep the committee and the public up to date.
No worries. Okay, so
Did the mayor join us? The mayor has joined us for the record.
Hey, everybody. Sorry, I was having a hard time logging in.
all right, let me.
Really only 6 of us? Do we have a quorum?
There are 11.
Where's everybody else?
All right.
Oh, I
so-
see. Okay. I had to drag my, okay, it wasn't opened up enough. Thank you.
We'll start north elevation. If we zoom in, we'll see that there's a little more glass installed, and you'll note the loading bays that we used to have here to get materials into the building are gone on building C. So this elevation actually looks pretty good with respect to glass, glazing, trim, metal panels. There's a strip here that needs to be complete, but everything else is in good shape. On the A building side, we still have our loading bays that we need here. Other than that, a lot of this work is complete as well. We're doing a lot of work on this high canopy. It's a lot of tedious work. So if it looks like this hasn't changed in a month, you're not wrong, because a lot of it's underneath here. But we're looking to be able to finish this up, put the GFRG in early next week, and then drop down and do the same thing on the lower canopy here. You are going to see some temp doors installed. Like for instance, this is a temp door. This is a main entrance, gets a lot of use. So we're going to keep a temp door on here so it doesn't get beat up. But all the everything else here is a finished product. So we're progressing there. From a roof screen perspective, a lot of the screen has been installed on the main building. We probably have about 3 weeks left on that. The back side, I'll show you in the other elevation. There is some, miscellaneous panels here and there, pieces and parts that are on back order that are hopefully due to show up next week. So like I said, about 3 weeks and we'll be done with all of those. On the back side, west elevation. If we zoom in here, all this brick has been completed now and washed down. So we are now installing the corner units and glazing those by next week. This should all be glazed out. And then we have a strip of metal panel to put in there. The rest of this is complete and washed down. We are working on, you can barely see it here, forming up this loading dock, looking to place the concrete there next week. If we go to, whoops. This should be,
Hey, Steve, where was the fire today on the roof? I think the fire.
yep. So we had a small fire on building F. It was contained in one area. There's maybe a 4x4 section of roof that has to be replaced. Somebody was welding. So something got caught. It was captured immediately. They rolled out some heavy equipment, but didn't really need to do anything. They just came up and ran the heat gun around just to make sure there was no hot spots. They actually didn't even bring any apparatus or equipment up into the building.
Yeah, before the fire chief even knew that it was a welding gun issue, he predicted that, he's, because I asked him, what the cause of the fire was. And, he said, I don't know, probably a welding gun. And you just confirmed that. Yeah.
Yep. So on the back side here, like I said, we've got this section of roof screen on one side to do. This one's complete. So you kind of get a feel for how this will look when the entire screen is done there. It does a nice job of blocking all these large air handling units. And then we'll drop down and add it here as well. A lot of progress made. This is the gym building. So a lot of these frames in now, and they'll be glazed. This corner unit is in progress right now. The mason is doing their final wash down on the auditorium on this side. And we're going to be closing up this loading bay as well over the next couple of weeks. There's also progress being made on the overhead doors. In each of these shops has an overhead door, so we're working our way through that installation. And then probably the most critical piece for us right now is this curtain wall here at south of E building. So this is the large cafeteria area. All the storefront down low has been installed, and this large section up here, we have the frames for it. And next week we'll start glazing it. Goal is for this to be entirely glazed by Thanksgiving, which is important for us because it's going to keep all the heat in. We have started a little bit of the temp heat in certain areas, and the sooner we get this done, and as soon as we get the permanent gas turned on, we'll be good to go to temp heat the entire building.
Steve, do you want to update us on where we are with National Grid and permanent power and with the gas company?
Yep. So permanent power, we are just waiting on the meter. And then so we have power to the transformer. We next need National Grid to install the meter, and then we can turn on the switch gear and have power, permanent power live in certain areas of the building, and we'll work systematically. The electrician is going to work systematically to turn panels on in the sequence that we need in order to be able to start units and start to get some key spaces conditioned.
And with the gas company, we're also.
So gas company, we're waiting on, it's a regulator crew. So the piping, the main piping's there, and then they have to install what's called the regulators and the meter. And then once that's done, they can actually turn the gas on, and the gas helps us so that we can turn the boilers on, and the boilers provide the water and the hot water that we need for the radiant panels that we're going to use in ABC building to temporarily heat that space. So we're in contact with both of those entities. We're hoping in the next week we have the gas company all set and good to go, and National Grid as well within the next couple of weeks.
Okay. We on the fourth floor now?
Yeah, so this is a fourth floor. There's not a lot of exciting stuff to show you. That was different from last month. It's a lot of above ceiling punch list work. All the ceiling frame, the grid is in. We're doing the punch list work now, and so we can get final inspections so we can close up ceilings. And then next week, we're actually going to start the floors in all the classrooms. But progress from last month is you can see railings, permanent railings starting to be installed in paint and all this mesh is getting finalized as well on the fourth floor. So that's probably the most exciting piece. Oops. If we drop down, this is the third floor media center, and this is the finished wood ceiling above. So that's in good shape, making good progress there. A lot of the drywall is complete. They've started some of the painting activities. This is actually one of my favorite spots in the building. Is just this. I think this view is going to be phenomenal when it's all done. They're working our way through with some mechanical finishes. You can see the ceiling grid is installed as well. This is below. This is the main entrance. Excuse the mess here, but you can see a lot of the finished drywall is complete right at the main entrance here. And again, we've got the mesh railings up above on the second floor being installed. So this whole entrance area now is starting to take shape. Over here is the principal's area. And then as we come in here, it'll be the video wall will start to take shape as well. We keep moving through the building. Oops. So this is first floor in the marketplace. We're moving our way through a lot of, as you can see, a lot of painted space now. A lot of the drywall is complete. So we're moving on to finishes in the marketplace. This is, oops.
Steve, that blue looks really good in person. I posted a picture of that same picture from the bistro or on the project Facebook page earlier today.
Oh, good, nice. This is a shot from the future cafeteria. A lot of the mechanical overhead is just about complete. A lot of duct work, a lot of the piping, a lot of work took place in the past month to get that installed. And if we look up from here, a lot of drywall complete on the second floor on both sides of the building surrounding the cafeteria. So that space is starting to look pretty good now. This is the future cafeteria space. So got all our inspections and that's being boarded as well. Just to give you some perspective. Again, this is the main stair, and this is the cafeteria space where all the students will sit, and this is where they'll actually go through the lines to get their food. Then we go. This is first floor A building. Again, we're storing a lot of materials inside the building, but if we look in and around the stored materials, a lot of finished work is starting to go in first floor building A. A lot of the ceiling grids installed, a lot of the paint has been completed. So all these rooms, if you go in here, a lot of finish, they're all starting to take shape now. This is the locker room area. A lot of block walls within the locker room area. I know this isn't the most exciting picture, but good progress has been made by the mason in here. There's lots of small individual rooms that are all block that are just about complete. This is the boys' locker room that we're looking at. And then this is the gym. So the masonry is complete and the frames are now in up high. This picture is a little older than the exterior elevation, but a lot of the overhead mechanical is now starting to be put in place in the gym. Again, perspective. So this is the building E cafeteria space. And then that's it. We'll back to the front of the building.
Yeah, so Steve, a couple of things. One is that from this meeting this morning, gym floor sometime in February.
Yes, so that's one of the areas when we talk about conditioned space and getting units running, that flooring is very sensitive. So we'll need to have some warm air flowing in that space for a good period of time before we even think about bringing the wood in. Then we bring the wood in, we let it settle within the space, and then they install it. So probably around February is when that will happen.
Okay. And just a quick preview. One of the big things that will occur is that between June 16th and August 25th, we have to get out of the old building, get into the new building, have all the furniture delivered, get everything set up for the start of school. And so Anjanette and Marianne are going to be putting together a program for this meeting probably in January, maybe in February, but we're hoping in January, so that we can have a full vetting of our plan to occupy the building.
That's correct.
So that was it for schedule update, unless people have other questions.
And we're on time.
Yes, yes. On time, the big push is to get as tight as possible so that we keep all the heat in.
And we're also on budget, correct, Anjanette?
Yes, we are.
Those are the two most important things about every project, right? So, anybody have any questions about the construction progress?
Jack, just want to is there any supply chain issues? I know I tend to ask that at every point, and hopefully we're still ahead of that. I know there were some things, Steve, that you guys are keeping an eye on. So would appreciate if there's any change or update.
Yeah, Scott, no new supply chain issues. I'll put it that way. And there's nothing that we are currently missing that's holding up schedule. We've kind of adjusted when we've ordered certain materials. For instance, block filler was one that we had an issue, so we had to shift to a different manufacturer to stay ahead of that. And then the other items that we tend to and that we've been tracking, like insulation and different things like that, we've just been ordering it earlier and maybe a little bit more of it, just so we don't run out of it, and haven't heard of anything new, Scott. But we're constantly monitoring it from a corporate and a project level. But knock on wood, nothing's affecting us right now.
That's good news. Thank you.
Yeah, because, you know, a year and a half ago, we could have found a way to make up time, but right now we're pretty close to crunch time. Isn't that correct?
211 days before June 16th.
And of course, between June 16th and August 25th, not only do we have to occupy the building, but we have to knock down the current building and construct parking lots, roadways, bus loops.
Yep.
So I assume you will not be allowed to take a vacation next summer, Steve?
No, I might celebrate on the 16th for a little bit, but then back out on the 17th.
Okay, good. Any other questions? All right, then, Steve, do you want to go to change logs or
Sure.
where do you want to go next?
Yep, so we've got change order 14 we'd like approval of. It consists of 6 different change requests. I will go through them quickly. GCR 049 is playground revisions, out of the shade structure, amongst other things. That is $42,241.36. GCR 071, athletic field scoreboard revisions. One of the major bonuses of this was added some panels for advertising, future advertising, that can be purchased and help the school out. So that is $20,067.51.
And by the way, the zoning board granted us 3 special permits last Thursday night to allow those signs to be on the scoreboards.
Perfect. GCR 074 is revisions to operable partition steel. So we had to tweak some steel, add some supports based on the weight of the operable partitions when they're folded. That is $7,571.04. GCR 098, walls at the underside of stairs. So a couple locations, they were changed from masonry to drywall. And then in 4 others, we had to add some drywall to close those spaces off. That is $12,875.13. GCR 109 added fire dampers at B107. So this is a 3-hour separation wall between building C and F that per code needed a couple of fire dampers. That is $5,163.50. And then GCR 111 delete some paneling at the mall or marketplace entry now. So that's a credit of $8,542.60. So grand total for change order 14, $79,375.94. All of these CRs were vetted by Consigli, KBA, Skanska, and any relevant consultant.
Anybody have any questions on those particular items? Hearing none, then I guess a motion is in order to approve.
Move to approve. Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? Jeremy?
All right, Jack, on change order 14, Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Gail,
Yes.
Jason,
Yes.
Jack,
Yes.
and Mayor.
Yes.
Oh, and Mark Furtado. Sorry, I didn't see you join, Mark.
Yes.
All right.
So we're up to about 13 now.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay. Steve, are there any new change proposals you want to discuss with us?
Yes, and then we'll move on to contingency transfers.
Okay.
So new items that are currently being tracked, not final yet. CR 121 added ceiling trim in CIS lab. This was due to having to drop the ceiling to be able to fit all the mechanicals above the space. So we had to add what's called some axiom trim to close off the gap between the ACT ceiling and the structure. That is approximately $2,775. CR 122 added volleyball cross courts. So this was so that there could be 3 volleyball courts in the future and not 2. So that's $8,795. CR 123 marketing and TV studio classroom revisions. This is some added equipment, some revised equipment. That is approximately $102,806. CR 124 plumbing shop revisions. So this was some additional hot and cold water taps that were requested by the teacher to be able to fill their pipe when they're working on it in the classroom. That's approximately $12,763. CR 125 glass revisions at Area C storefront. So this was, I think we might have talked about this one before, but the curtain wall, you could see above the ceiling. So we revised it so that you wouldn't look above the ceiling when you look through the glass to see all that ugliness. That is roughly $5,410. CR 127 security revisions. So this was on the first floor, moving some card readers, adding some card readers per the school's request after reviewing the security. So that is approximately $43,286. CR 128 auditorium AV revisions. This was actually also in the band and chorus and the gym. Some equipment revisions to the AV system. That is approximately $21,643. CR 129 is probably going to go away. This is just an added toilet tissue dispenser at the pre-K revisions. We got pricing in, that's going to be minimal dollars. CR 129, 130 rated enclosures at stair F11. This is where the walls changed to gyp, and we had to close off the ceiling, make it fire rated in order to maintain the rating for the whole structure. That's approximately $16,773. And then CR 131 Walls of the gym entrance might need some additional support. The masonry walls might need some additional support. That is approximately $2,164. So these are all still being vetted right now. Nothing to ask approval of at this point.
Bill, my understanding is that the marketing and TV studio classroom revisions is because we are actually now in a position where we're going to go to at least 18 CTE programs rather than 16. Is that correct?
That's correct. Marketing was not on our radar during the design phase, and we hired a new CTE director who is very aggressive in terms of us trying to not only grow our existing programs, but also add more programs that give our students relevant opportunities. And marketing's already brought in, I think, 19 students in their sophomore year. And I'm actually working with them on a couple of different projects. And in comparison to other programs like welding or dentistry or cosmetology, the equipment that marketing needed was pretty minimal. But we did need to make some adjustments to that space.
And then also a TV program, correct?
Yeah. TV radio is something else that's become very popular with our students. As a matter of fact, at the school committee meeting on Monday night, Ms. Bergeron, our teacher, and a couple of her students were there because they produced a video for Willett Elementary School about their partnership with the YMCA. And it was almost as good as what Jim Jones and his crew does at AACS.
Thanks, Bill.
So I think it's marvelous that for relatively short dollars, we are able to adapt and create appropriate spaces for these programs. I'm happy to see that we're able to do that. Does anybody have any questions on those items that may be coming down the pike? All right, hearing none, where are you going next, Steve?
Contingency transfers. Like to start with one that we'd like approval of from the committee. It is GCT 037 for some temporary paving and line striping required in and around the school for the start of the school year. That is $17,770. Once again, this one was also vetted by Consigli, Skanska, and KBA.
So this is work that we did, what, in August to get ready for the opening of school?
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. Anybody have any questions on that? Then I guess a motion is in order.
Move to approve. Second.
Thank you. Jeremy?
GCT 37, Jason,
Yes.
Jackie,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bill,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Scott,
Yes.
Ed, Mark,
Yes.
Rob,
Yes.
Andrew,
Yes.
Gail, Jack,
Yes,
and Mayor.
Yes.
13.
passes unanimously. All right, what else do you want to tell us about on this log, Steve?
Just 3 new items to the log from last month. Again, still vetting these out as well, but just wanted to make the committee aware. GCT 042 is the culinary kitchen tile issue that I believe we talked about last month, where we have some tiles that are cracking. So we are investigating why that is happening, and have Skanska, well, the city has hired SGH, Simpson, Gunther, and Hager, who are the subject matter experts to assist us in that effort. Worst case scenario, if we have to replace some drywall and some tile, it could be in the 132,000 range. But again, still preliminary, still doing our research on that one.
We're trying to find out who may be responsible for that and whether we can be reimbursed for that from someone, correct, Steve?
Yeah, I guess in simple terms, if we find someone clearly at fault, then they pay for any remedial work.
Right. So for instance, if it was a bad batch of tile, then we'll be talking to the manufacturer. If the subcontractor, didn't properly space something, we would be looking there. But at this point, it's still a mystery, correct?
Correct. And SGH was out again today and spent several hours poking around, asking different questions, looking at different things. KBA was involved, Consigli Skanska were involved. Still, it's one of those issues there where as soon as you think you've solved it, there's a condition that doesn't fit what you thought was the solution, right? So there's so many different conditions where it has happened, it's hard to nail down exactly what the issue is at this time. But it's a good group. We're still digging into it.
Okay, go ahead.
GCT 43, CMU wall revisions at stair F11. This was a sequencing issue where we installed some MEPs prior to the ceiling being done. So we have to add some CMU in order to maintain a rating, potentially $10,000. And then GCT 044, replace electrical handholds. So these were handholds that were installed during phase 1 that somehow got damaged. We don't know who damaged them, but we got the final number on this and we're going to negotiate this so it goes away. Even though the contract might allow us to utilize the contingency funds, it's a small enough amount that we're just in a sensitive enough issue that we're going to work with the sub to make that go away. And again, all 3 of these items, if they did go to contingency, would not increase the GMP. And we would make sure that they certainly are vetted again by the design team and Skanska and any consultant required.
Okay, I appreciate the last one especially. And Jerry does too. Then any questions on these items? All right, then is there anything else that you need to update us on, Steve?
Just real quick, overall on allowances, I think it's best to discuss it in big picture terms. We have several allowances on the project, and we look at them as a whole. And as a whole, we are trending toward having savings in the allowances. But if we zeroed in on winter conditions for this winter, it's going to look ugly because we're going to go over budget there. But we have some savings from other allowances that are going to offset that large number going over budget. And this is Scott, similar question along the same vein that Scott asked about supply chain. Fuel costs are something that are starting to skyrocket that we're a little nervous about and are going to affect our winter conditions. So that's something that we're watching too, that is, we try to capture some of that in our projection for the overrun in winter conditions. But again, we've got the savings to offset that. And then we're also starting some new finishes that we have some allowances set aside for just in case. And so in the next couple of months, 3 months, we're going to have a real good handle on if we're going to need that allowance money. And if we don't need it, it can either go to the winter conditions or go to offset some other overage somewhere else. But so that was a lot of talking of me just saying we're in good shape with allowances right now.
Yeah, and knock on Formica, we've been very lucky. We have a substantial balance in our COVID allowance that so far we haven't been using. I think we've been really lucky with the small number of cases that we've had, Steve, correct?
Yep. We continue to do additional cleaning and have additional porta potties and we clean those more often in some of the common areas more often than maybe we would have. And we'd like to say that that's helping and working. So we're going to keep doing it. But we haven't, Jack, you're 100% right. We haven't had to tap into it for much more than that. which is good news.
And just for the committee's edification, COVID-related costs that are above and beyond what Consigli would be doing in a non-COVID project, the city is charging those to our CARES Act allocation. So those additional costs related to COVID aren't going to go on the debt exclusion or be on the taxpayer. They're from, or the local taxpayer. They're being paid for with federal dollars.
Good. Okay. I guess, Craig, do you want to add anything to the discussion this evening?
I currently don't have anything to add. I think Steve did a wonderful job with his presentation. So if there's anything you would like me to speak to, I'm more than happy to, but I do not have anything to add other than what's been discussed.
One thing we did talk about, I think it was last month, was a small curling of a slab in the cafeteria. Do you want to update the committee on that?
Yeah, sure. We've gone out and have done an investigation on that. Our structural engineer has reviewed everything. They are in the current process of writing their report with remediation that they'll be issuing to Consigli to correct the cracking and curling issue.
So does it look like we'll be perhaps replacing a small section of that pour?
I have not seen the detail or anything along those lines. I just know that they will be, whether it's going to be a replacement or shaving down, etc. I've been told I'll have the detail and everything by the end of this week, but it will be something that will need to be addressed. And it seems like we have a solution. And so once that is all finalized, Consigli, I'm sure we'll get on it right away.
Okay. Sounds like you had some children in the background. All right, then I guess.
Yeah, I'm actually sitting in my car with my son.
Oh. I hope you're on your way to McDonald's. So Mary Ann and Anjanette.
Don't tease him like that.
Before Anjanette puts anything out there for review in terms of budget, et cetera, I just wanted to say I was really pleased with the partnering that's taken place among the team, in particular in reviewing budgets and getting tremendous input from KBA and Consigli. It's really allowed us that we're evaluating weekly and meeting with the leadership of this group to evaluate how we can keep staying within budget, utilizing money in smart ways as we progress through the project, really just keep mitigating risk and redeploying money. And I think that this team has done a very good job of it. And it's evidenced by opportunities to add the 2 CTE programs and have the money available to fund that. And just like the Western field. So just want to say that there's been a huge commitment on the team's part to really get as much value as possible to the community here.
Yeah, and I want to thank both of you, the entire team, of course, but both of you. We had our 6-week budget meeting this morning, and I'm pleased to report that we are still in excellent shape. Oh, I know. Actually, Steve, there was one thing we forgot to do, which was the maintenance building. So why don't we go back and revisit that before Anjanette does her numbers?
Sure. So the final numbers for the maintenance addition are being vetted out by the team, and we actually got some good comments today. The initial number was in the 850,000 range. We're hoping it's going to come in a little lower than that, but there is some preliminary work that we'd like to get started on before it's too late and before certain walls get closed up. just different things that if we can do it now, it's going to reduce the cost rather than doing it next year when we actually start the building. And then also there are some materials that if we can grab now, it assures us that we're not going to go through any future escalations. So we had talked about potentially approving a not to exceed value for the maintenance addition at this meeting that allows us to move forward with certain work. And then for December's meeting, we would have final numbers vetted out by the entire team.
Yeah, so that was something we discussed at our Wednesday morning meeting, and I think the Wednesday morning team recommends to the full group that we authorize whichever change proposal number it is, Steve, at a not to exceed number of 900,000. And then we will come back at the December meeting and rescind that vote and replace it with a full number. Rob?
Thanks, Jack. Steve, just based on what you were saying earlier about some increasing costs, are you confident that the 900, knowing that we'll be able to rescind next month, but you're confident that the not to exceed number of 900,000 will be enough?
Yes. Yep. Rob, we talked about that this morning, and especially based on some of the comments that came back, because I think the number's going to come down even a little bit more.
Yeah, no, and knowing that it was initially around 800,000, it looks like it might come under. I'm comfortable with the 900,000, but I just wanted to make sure with any other rising costs that we may not see, we were still covering ourselves enough. So
yeah,
thank you.
And Scott, actually, Rob, within that number, we do have a little bit of contingency captured as well, just in case there's something we miss or there's a little bit of a price increase. And Jack, I do want to point out, this is actually a contingency transfer, not an add to the project.
Okay. Does this have a contingency number on it, Steve? Just for the record?
Yes, it is
39.
Thank you.
Okay. And just as an example of what we're talking about here is that part of what we looked at this morning is that there are significant furniture price increases that the manufacturers are talking about. And so starting this particular project now, and in fact, we're talking about placing the furniture orders no later than December 15th, correct, Anjanette? Because we want to lock in as many prices as we can before things go up after the first of the year. So we're building all of those things into our budget, and we're still in good shape. So I recommend that we approve, was it GTC 39 in an amount not to exceed 900,000. Is there a motion to that effect?
So moved. Second.
Is there any further discussion on that? Excellent. Then Jeremy?
First vote, Jason, how do you feel about the maintenance facility?
I'm undecided. Yes, resoundingly.
Jackie?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Bill?
Absolutely.
Terry?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. Okay, then we can go back, I guess, to Anjanette. Do you want to walk us through your numbers?
Can everybody see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, and you can hear me this week, right?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. So this month we had, bills from the usual suspects. Skanska's bill this month was $83,185. Castle Booz's bill was for $115,245. Consigli's invoice was, the certified amount was for $6,005,161.85. That's down here. That includes the change orders that had been billed during the month in this green area over here, and then the retainage that's being withheld is deducted from their overall total from there. And then the other miscellaneous expenses we had were from the city, and those were, Jeremy has a few of them listed. I think I had a couple I had to catch up on from last month. Those are related to the move management invoices. There was one from Briggs, which does our concrete tests. They look at the structural steel, all of the inspections that are required per contract. And then I do believe there was an invoice in there for Intertech, who did some of the required window testing as well for the month. So after all is said and done, Consigli is now billed out to 66% of their contract work, and overall the project is billed out, excuse me, to 65%. We have a total invoice to date of $170,206,283, and we have $89,327,335 left to bill. Does anyone have any questions regarding any of the invoices or the changes?
You recommend that we pay all these bills, correct?
I sure do. Yes, please.
Especially the Skanska bill.
Especially the Skanska one.
Okay, anybody have any questions on the numbers? Interesting to see that, you know, the amount remaining is now less than the amount that we've expended. Just another example of how we're hurtling towards August 25th.
Right. Go quick.
Yep. So if there are no other questions, then I guess a motion is in order to pay the bills.
Move to pay the bills. Second.
Any discussion? Jeremy?
Jason? Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes.
And Mayor?
Yes.
13.
Okay, passes unanimously. So despite what it says on our agenda, the next meeting
I fixed it on mine already.
is the 15th, and the 15th is a double header. Just reminding you that at 3 o'clock, we are going to gather for the tour of the building. And at 5:30, we will be in our usual places to do this meeting. The January meeting will be the 12th of January. I hate thinking of midwinter at this point, but we have to. So mark your calendars for January 12th, 2022. Is there anything else anyone would like to bring up at this point? Hearing none, then I guess a motion would be in order to
So moved.
adjourn at 6:18. Is there a second?
Second.
Jeremy?
Jason?
Yes.
Jackie?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Bill?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Rob?
Yes.
Andrew?
Yes.
Gail?
Yes.
Jack?
Yes,
And Mayor Hu?
Yes.
we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
night.
Night.
Take care, everybody.
Thank you.